because I can come back for that stuff. Hey, Longclaw. Yes, it is, and you're just gonna have to live with the typical. I'm gonna do a shout out. And Nightbot is once again sleeping. What is your deal today, Nightbot? Like, sometimes it's on point, and other times it's like, I'm on break. Okay, well I guess I'll do that again in a couple of minutes. See if Nightbot's figured itself out. Yeah, adding this extra freezer on here is making us burn through gas way faster. That's okay. My plan with that, basically, is to just leave it the problem it is for now. And then, once we get to the point that we start approaching winter again, and we go through our stuff, I'm going to yank up the extra freezer. And I know I didn't top off this gas can, I actually don't really care that much. We passed 45,000, making good progress. The game, like both this stream and last stream, though, has been hell-bent in just throwing bad weather at me as much as possible to try and slow us down any opportunity it can. Right, so I'm going to want to open the door before we try driving through. I do think ultimately I'll end up flooring this whole area off. Just so, the trees and stuff don't grow back. I don't know what I'm going to use with that space. It's mostly we've just been like, alright, well the weather sucks, let's do stuff. And honestly just grinding metalworking and mechanic, it's like, but I don't really need to. Like, every so often I'm going to have to fix my cars, that'll get us progress. That's good enough for me. And even though it shouldn't matter because we got a big open side down there. Gotta close our door. As far as we can tell, we weren't born in a barn. And if we were, you know, no judgment. Exor042 says, I have the same location, but the store isn't burned out. Yeah, I mentioned it a couple times. It's been actually a stream or two since I mentioned it. When we first started that run, my intention was to live in that gas station, like the building itself, and then expand the building out. I was pretty bummed when we got there and the whole thing was burned down. Like, well, I guess we're just living next to the gas station. Because in the last attempt, we had built a custom building next to the gas station like we did this time, and so I wanted to do something a little different. And then, you know, that just didn't end, like, that just wasn't in the cards. Alright, just gonna add the fish. We're gonna have rain tomorrow? Game, stop. Stop. I have not tried the Floors Lava mod. I got into this run and I haven't been able to do... Like, I've noticed there's been quite a few people doing challenges lately. And, it'd be curious to try one of them. Yeah, Rockbeard, it probably is. It was mostly just to mix things up. Like, realistically, I would have started building my base inside that gas station, and very quickly, like, outgrown the capacity of the gas station. And so ultimately we would be expanding out towards that lake, and I would have built like a little farming hut on the lake, that kind of thing. Nice, I can't kill anyone. Like, we are sitting on 5 nimble ourselves. We've been on this for a while. We barely made a dent and we're barely over 10% of the way to the next level. Because nimble levels slowly, and as you get more effective in combat, it effectively starts leveling even slower. Because the way you level nimble is by staying in combat stance and moving around. But you get to the point where in combat stance, like, you're in combat, you just hit 2 zombies and they're dead, so you don't stay in combat stance for more than a fraction of a second just between the 2 of them. And you're just like, okay, well. So effectively you're not in combat stance, you're just like moving around normally more. Like, and even this, like, normally I go like 1 hit, 2-hit, 3-hit in combat stance the whole time. Because we're just one tapping them, we just don't stay in combat stance for long enough to be meaningful. Which, for those curious, and I'll actually do it after these two zombies, because we're still in that mode where if we see zombie, we kill zombie. But while we do that, I'm going to drag this over here. For those curious about our skills and stats and all that, this character started as what we refer to 0 to hero, and I did see that zombie jump the fence. I want to kill you real fast, turn around, and kill you. But we did start 0 to hero, which means we had 0 strength, 0 fitness, 0 anything. Not a single stat to our name, no combat skills, no crafting skills, nothing. So, we're doing pretty solid. Yes, I tend to get way more of the XP when I hit, like, actually get in. That's the thing that's kind of rough about this phase of the playthrough, is you lose so much time to the commute back and forth that really doesn't help out. And you can sleep in your car, but it is dangerous to do so. And so this being a marathon run, it is one of those things you want to do strategically and carefully. But it is kind of like you make a ton of progress all at once, like as you push into your first town. You get into that first town, and you make a ton of progress. And then when that town starts getting lower population, the progress really starts to slow down, because now you're just picking on like the few remaining zombies in the area, not any real concentration of them. Then we turn around and you go, okay, well, it's time for the next town. And at first you make decent progress because you're killing the zombies that were nearby, that, you know, are just a short ride up the road in real big numbers. But the closer and closer you get to the town before you actually get your foothold into it, means again you're doing that much of just driving along the way to reach it. Yep, they're both a bit over 2/3 of the way to the next level. So there's a pretty good chance that once I get my foothold in Rosewood, it'll probably will be a couple of days to a week that we actually get ourselves a proper level in fitness and strength both. Which will be huge for our character. Be more carry weight, be more damage per swing, be able to fight for longer. And that's where I was kept talking about people like, you know, when we were at the beginning, it's like, oh, you know, here you are like a month in and you only got like a, you know, a little over a couple thousand zombie kills. Like, if you're talking 900,000 zombies, how on earth do you expect to kill all those zombies? And it's like, all right, yeah, if we were to keep this trend, it would never happen. But as we get closer to strength 10 and fitness 10 and 10 on our various combat skills, we'll get to the point that we find hordes of zombies, and about as fast as we can swing as they go down, and then we move on to the next horde, we can just blast through horde after horde a day. Like, and there's a good chance I'll start using my my hunting knives as my main weapon when we get to that point, because those will be 1 and 2 shots very reliably, and they won't use like any stamina whatsoever. So I'm just gonna sit there and keep just knocking them all down real fast. I can't kill anything says I also hit level 9 strength, which is a godsend for my nomad that can't drive. Yes. I mean, just getting like 1 or 2 more kilograms of carry weight, especially when you're taking into consideration like a backpack that reduces the weight of stuff 85%, is huge for carrying stuff. I'm thinking of just setting up on the north gas station, just because gas station, but yep. Oh yeah. And then also when you start considering at that point it'll probably be 9-10 durability or maintenance as well. Like, I should be able to kill way more zombies to replace my hunting knives than my hunting knives themselves. In worst case, I pull out a machete or a katana or whatever when they show up, or a crowbar in a real pinch, and you're just good to go. But yeah, so the 3 reasons I've got the gas station in the north as my target is 1, it's the closest location we are to about reaching. 2, it's the first location I can reach realistically in Rosewood. So that means it's the very first place I can get a foothold. And then 3, gas stations are always a decent choice for a base. And that's simply because there's gas there. And which means you plop the generator down in range to use the gas station's pumps. And now you have a means of refilling your generator like right there. You don't have to like think about and do a bunch of work. It's just you're already sorted. Versus if you don't make the gas station your base, you end up doing this weird thing where you have one generator at your base, and you go... Yep, and also freezers are typically at your gas stations, this is true. But, so the other thing is just, because they're just right there, I only need one generator to do all the things. Otherwise, my situation is, I build up this huge base, I have a generator there, then I have to have a separate generator to run the gas pumps or pick up my generator and move it, which means all my food starts thawing and going bad if I leave it too long. Yeah. I can't kill him. I said, I didn't see a significant drop in speed when going into aim mode versus regular walking, which is amazing. Probably just don't see it. Yeah, it's still, I think at 5, you still do go slower than you walk, but it is very minor. Like, I could genuinely see just... I have a button that, on my computer Z, I have a button so when I hit it, instead of me having to hold right mouse button, I can toggle aim. I usually only use it when foraging, but I could see just turning that on when I'm walking around if I just wanted to grind nimble. I mean, frankly, I wouldn't even be against doing that around base. It's just a little tedious to like constantly have to toggle it on and off. Yeah, you can set it to toggle. I don't remember where I did it. I'll go check here in a second, though. Yeah, I believe... Toggle and aim. Yeah, where I said Z, keep in mind, I don't use a QWERTY keyboard. So, like, you can see that I don't use a QWERTY keyboard considering this is my W, the equivalent of W, the equivalent of S. A is the same between Dvorak and QWERTY. And then my E is, what would that normally be? WASD? D. So, yeah. So, if you ever notice when you're looking at my settings going, why are those key buttons so weird? It's because I don't use QWERTY. That said, if I do ever sit there and go, oh, this game doesn't support changing keybinds, which one, if a game doesn't support changing keybinds, game, this is the 1990s calling. We had already figured that out back then. Catch up. But, otherwise, I think it's just Windows space. I can toggle into QWERTY. Like, actually, I can show you how easy it is to toggle between, because I know I've had people like, oh no, I wouldn't be able to do that. Like, if I switch from game to display capture, you just watch me hit Windows space. You see that little thing popping up in the bottom right? That's me toggling between keyboard formats. So, that's all it takes. Now game should come back up. There we go. So it is a non-issue to toggle between keyboard layouts when you load them up. It used to be a colossal pain in the butt back in like the Windows 90, 95 days and that. Because you'd have to sit there and go as like settings, input devices, keyboards, keyboard layout, and then you'd have to do your layout, and then you have to choose it, and then you have to choose apply. I don't remember. I don't think you had to reboot for that. But at the same time, Windows 95 and 98, if you sneezed at the operating system, it would make you reboot. But yeah. Longclaw says, I got 4 keyboard layouts active. Would be such a hassle without the shortcuts to switch between them. That makes me wonder. I'm going to check... I'm not going to do it. there are, for accessibility concerns, there are color filters you can apply to your games. Well, I mean, it's to your screen. That will actually make the colors stand out much better for people with different types of color deficiencies, so like red, green, color blindness. I mean, there's not really a whole lot you can do for people who have monochrome, other than just higher contrast. But it helps with individuals that, you know, you're playing a game, it wants to lean really heavily into red and green colors, which, if you're fully red-green color deficient, doesn't really help your cause much, because, you know, you can't distinguish those two colors, so it kind of sucks. But it's tough to, it sits between where the operating system ends and your video driver begins. It's in between that point and says, like, hey, video driver, this color isn't red, it's this other color. That the person who has that type of red color, or that color deficiency, would be better able to see. So far as distinguishing them. And if I could remember, like, normally I would show it off very quickly, but I actually don't remember what the shortcut key was off the top of my head, because I haven't given that talk in a long time. But yeah, it's one of those things you just toggle. It's called a color filter. It's just built into Windows. So if anyone here has, like, Duratism or any of the other color deficiencies, check out your color filters in Windows. They may not solve your problems. I mean, they won't solve your problems, but they may not make your life easier, but, like, they can help a lot. There was, before I started streaming, there was someone else I was RPing with on occasion. And I had heard that they were color deficient, and, you know, we were just talking, and I had done my, like, I've actually done on my stream previously one of my talks on, making applications accessible for people with disabilities. So not accessible, and that's one of the problems you run into with tech. Accessible has different types of meanings. There's accessible so far as disabilities, and then there's accessible so far as different applications being able to communicate with each other efficiently and all that kind of stuff. But when you're talking with disabilities, you would always give talks on, like, what you can do to make your applications far more accessible for people with disabilities. But I had given that talk on stream to a number of people that, you know, I was RPing with, because I was, like, really at the point, I was like, I'm going to go for affiliate. And I had given that talk, and one of the other people had mentioned this to the other individual. And I was kind of like, oh, hey, you know, did you know there's this feature in Windows that, you know, if you have, I think it was Duratism that they had, which is not complete red-green color red-green color blindness, but partial. I was like, hey, you know, there's a filter in Windows specifically for that that'll make your life easier. And he turned it on, like, on stream, and I was like, oh my god, this is so different. Which, most of the time that stuff won't come across on stream because it lives between your driver and your display. So OBS is completely unaware of it. Which is very frustrating when you're trying to present that to people, because it means even if I screen capture, you don't see my screen flip and all the colors change. Not all colors, a few colors change. But it's also pretty cool, because that means if you as an individual are dealing with, stay away from those trees, are dealing with these types of accessibility concerns, like, it doesn't, you know, making things better for you isn't making it worse for everyone else kind of thing. Which is nice. Because there's sometimes you make choices about how you display stuff, like making your icons bigger and all that, which actually helps with streaming. That can be very distracting. Or, like, for example, there are fonts that are dyslexic friendly, like, you know, the one I have for the channel, that they're better for reading, they make it easier to read, but sometimes can be distracting if you're not used to them. And they're distracting in the sense that you're used to seeing it look one way, and then you have this other font. Alright, I see you coming behind us, zombie. Don't do that. Let's take this across the road, because I am trying to get them out of the road now. Now we're getting to more manageable numbers. And you have a hydrate, And I was actually just sitting there thinking, it's like, I need a drink. I haven't opened my drink. Oh yay, yet another fireman's axe. This is... We might be up to 30 fireman's axe at this point. Actually, no, I don't think we're quite there, but we have a lot of fireman's axe. And I don't think I've used and broken a fireman's axe in probably 6 months or so would be my guess. Right, and that's the whole point. It's like, objectively, dyslexia is easier to read. It is specifically designed to be more accessible. And when you talk about things being more accessible, you should think of that as makes it more accessible for literally everyone, period. It's just some people, and this isn't some people in a bad way, it's just some people, it's very weird and off-putting to them. And that's fair. I get it. Like, Comic Sans is considered a dyslexic-friendly font. But Comic Sans can be very off-putting. So I get it. That's it. Alright, before we go too far, because I'll forget about the hydrate, I'm going to go ahead and do my hydrate. Because I got an extra drink right here. I just got to open it. And then because everyone keeps telling me to show off my merch, I've been putting in my little coffee cups and all that I sell. And when I say sell, I mean it's a merch store. I don't actually do any of the work myself. I don't make the cups. I don't package them or anything. It's just Streamlabs. Sorry, I didn't mean to slurp in there. I was about to spill. I am hoping I didn't just, like, gurgle soda in your ears. If I did, I really do apologize, because I know a lot of people that sound is not good times. It was just one of those things that I was bringing the cup to my mouth to, like, you know, move to the side to sip, and I saw it start splashing on the edges, like, oh. So, you know, just quickly rushed to get that sip before it splashed over, and I was all up on the mic when I did it. Awesome. That is good to know, because I'm not sure, I'm sure a lot of people have noticed that when I've been drinking, I've been doing, like, leaning way off to the side. Because, like I said, you know, there are definitely people that if you just, like, start slurping some drink right next to the microphone, you can, like, you can visually picture their eyes squirm at the sound. And I get it. It bothers me so much when you're at a conference talking, the person's just sitting there going glug, 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 glug. Right in the mic is like, dude, just turn your mic off. Or, like, you know, block your lapel mic. Do something. No one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear, like, throat wetness happening. Please. Alright, Darth Strider. You go have yourself a good walk and a good night. Thank you again for tuning in. Or it's like people who talk into the mic while, or like, you know, they're eating at the mic, so you're just like hearing them chew at their food, and you're just like, please stop. Like, it's cool that you're enjoying your food. You should eat. Eating is good. It's very important. But, like, don't. I mean, it's not a normal phrase you hear. It's a good thing I can't think of an emote that would go with that. That wouldn't be just absolutely unusable. Because I could see that being kind of one of those words that stick. Like, you hear about certain people, like, there'll be a random word. Mass strength and fitness? No, actually, we started this character at minimal strength and fitness. When this character started, we were at 0-0. At this point, we're at fitness 6, strength 7, if I'm not mistaken. Again, pretty close to leveling both those up, though. where you're seeing us effectively just delete zombies. Part of that's because machete. Let's be real. But then the other part of that's... Here, I'll actually pull this over, drag it over here. So when we started this character, it's... Game. When we started this character, it's what I would refer to as a 0 to hero build. Oh. Oh, sentient cookie. Ugh. Ugh. I'm gonna leave that one alone. But we started this where we had nothing here. We didn't have a single point in any of the combat skills, agility skills, no points in strength, no points in fitness. We had nothing. And we trained it all up. So where we're watching just me absolutely slap zombies around like they're not even here, that's mostly those combat skills more than anything else. Don't get me wrong, the strength and fitness does help, but really it's these combat skills that make the difference. Because that's what's determining most of what is a one-shot, a two-shot, and a three-shot kind of thing. Like, for example, those short blades. If I use a hunting knife right now, as long as I'm not exerted or anything like that, it's 2 to 3 hits kills a zombie. So there's a reason I will snap out the short blades very readily, because I can very reliably kill zombies in just 1 or 2 hits, or just 2 or 3 hits. If I go exerted, it gets to be 4 and 5 hits. That's when to try and watch carefully for the moodle in the upper right. The moment we hit moderately exerted, I try and swap over to my short blades, because they're actually so stamina efficient that you can recover stamina by using them. But you can imagine how fast we can get going here, where that was 2 hordes of about 18-20 zombies each. And we just... It's like they're not there. They're just... butter. And just like that, 5 more zombies gone. Another pack down here. Rockbeard says, does your character get used to zombies and corpses over time? Really, I rarely see, Yes, so I believe up to 120 days. Thank you. After I believe it's 120 days, you have the maximum amount of, I'm going to call it resistance. I don't know what the actual term for it is. You get like desensitized so far as panic. You still can reach panic, but it's just the time to come back down from panic is very fast, which is the reason why, you know, I mentioned the other, like when we were fighting during the helicopter, like this feels like a time to actually break out a beta blocker. I've been carrying, I think, 8 things of beta blockers on my character for probably 7-8 months now, and we've probably taken all of about 3 of them over that time. That's probably being exaggerated. It's probably like 5-6 months. 150 days? Yeah. That's what I Can't Kill Anything says. I think 150 days is maximum panic resistance. So yeah, you do gradually build up a panic tolerance. Generally speaking, the panic tolerance kind of works in twofold. One where it takes a lot more to get you to panic, but more so like the easier thing is recovering from panic is much faster. What do we have that's so heavy here? We'll drop... No, not there. On the vehicle. Drop a nightstick. It'll just stop with there. But yeah, so for me the thing is like how fast you can recover from being panicked once you get adjusted is amazing, because your character will turn, they'll see the giant horde, they'll go to extreme panic, you'll turn the other way, and then your character's like, nah, we're good. Everything's fine. There's nothing even noteworthy happening around me anymore. As you know, there's like 200 zombies, you know, nipping at our heels. Classic out of sight, out of mind. If they ever make it so you can trip on zombie corpses by just walking around them or like strafing past them, my high pop runs will be over. Like, there would be no way to play this. And so all the zombies we're seeing right now, these are all the ones that when we did the helicopter and I had to bail out of the field because it's getting too dark to see. These are all the ones that showed up after we left the field. So had we stayed in the field, we would have had to fight. It looks like it was probably, what, 2.5, 3 more packs? And I'm not trying to like clear absolutely every zombie. I'm just trying to get these big packs right here out of the way. Because those are the kind of things that, you know, they end up wandering in the middle while you're doing other stuff and causing all sorts of grief. Yep, good enough for me. You got a single zombie chilling by the truck. That's fine. We are pushing a little late, but I'm feeling good about continuing to push into Rosewood. Because I'm not sure who was here really late towards the end of stream last night, but I was like, okay, if I can get in the gas station, we're going to sleep in Rosewood tonight, was kind of the idea when we're... it's whatever. That was what we're doing. And I got to the gas station, and there were, like, no zombies in the parking lot or near it. Like, not a single zombie. Like, we got around back, and there was, like, one small group of zombies. And if it wasn't for the fact that I got to the point that I went to go in the building... got spooked by a zombie, killed it real fast. Like, we didn't get ourselves an egg hype or real danger. I saw this big pack down there. I'm choosing to ignore them. But, it wasn't for the fact that it's super dark and I got spooked by the one zombie. I was like, you know what? I don't need to rush this. I'm going to wait till daytime and actually go in here when I can see, because the downside with that gas station for our base is like the gas station that we had planned on staying at Ekron. It has, like, an apartment on the second floor, which is good, but it's got, like, that staircase in the back that, you know, you're going around tight corners, which are super dangerous. You can't see, and then on top of that, it was like really dark. Like, it was nighttime and it was raining, and I'm like, there's no reason I should be doing this. Like, it would be nice, but it'd be a very risky play. So the safe play was to just turn around and go home, which is what we did. I would like to get in there. I don't think we'll get in. I think we're going to get down to probably about its area, not unless we just cruise through and there's no more hordes, which I very much doubt. But I could see us clearing its parking lot and all that today. Because we're also probably getting real close to Drowsy. And Drowsy is when it's time that we turn around and head out. The only exception I might have is if we got Drowsy super early, then maybe I'd chug a bunch of vitamins, but it's already 10 p.m. in game, so it is what it is. Oh, and when it gets dark and light does adjust a bit as the year goes to, like, different seasons. Like, the closer you get to what would be middle of summer, the longer you have so far as daylight hours, versus when you get closer to winter, there's more nighttime, or dark hours. I shouldn't say nighttime, dark hours. Big group here. I'm just going to drive a little bit farther up the road. So yeah, this is our backup vehicle. Where if I were to roll this vehicle again, then I wouldn't have to go the whole way back to Akron just to get a vehicle. I'd either take that vehicle to fix my vehicle, or if I couldn't, my vehicle's disabled, that would be then the vehicle I would take to go home. There's Drowsy. Because Drowsy does a number of things. One, it reduces the amount of damage you do per hit. The second thing it does, it reduces the speed at which your stamina recovers. The third thing it does, it reduces quote-unquote awareness. And what awareness is in Project Zomboid is, if you see like this cone that I can see, it makes that narrower. It also makes the area behind you can see a bit smaller, and that behind you is the one that's the scariest to me personally. So like if you can imagine, like at ridiculously tired, if this is the back of my character, like the circles like that, where you get no warning of zombies coming up from behind you by the time you get to that level of tiredness. Which is one of the reasons why, like exertion, alright, I will slow down and play a little bit more cautiously with exertion, but I'll keep fighting. But when I get drowsy, you'll see me just immediately be like, it's time to get in the car, we're leaving. Because once you get drowsy, you're basically going to get exerted, that's coming. And then just all the other penalties are just too dangerous. Alright, we haven't done this in a while, but there's a little boot camp up here. We cleared it out before, so my intention is to go to this boot camp real fast, and we'll sleep here. That way I don't have to do the huge long drive back. It's just a short little trek. That's my intention. The downside is I can't get the vehicle close enough to it. I have to walk through a semi-wooded area because it's dirt roads, and the dirt roads the trees grow in, and it's a whole thing. That said, we might run into a zombie or two, but I wouldn't imagine many. So this isn't the safest way for me to deal with this situation, strictly speaking, but I would want to make a lot of progress, so you know. Let's see. The Greater Danger says, I will say my favorite Project Zombie moment was a midnight scramble in Rosewood trying to escape a zombie horde with ridiculously tired, highly exerted, and barely any weapons, and somehow managed to find a safe house and go to sleep. But it was a ride for sure. Oh yeah, I've had times where it's like you're like things are just going bad, and you manage to like narrowly hop through a window and slam the window closed behind you. That buys you just enough time to walk around a corner. I need to get this inventory and all this out of the way so I can see. But barely buys you enough time to like get around the corner so zombies don't know which way you went. Then you're like just crawling away as slow as possible with, you know, sneak and everything. You manage to narrowly get into like a bathroom. Cogged? I don't know. I would assume not. If it is, it's probably not intended to be that way, so I definitely wouldn't want to rely on it, because that's the kind of stuff that, once it becomes publicly aware, as it were, the devs have a really good, like, they really quickly stamp that out, as it were. Like, where people were using cars to, like, make impenetrable fortifications on their houses. And the devs are like, well, now zombies can crawl under the cars, so rip all of you people. Alright. Let's see. People are saying driver's side against driver's side. I mean, maybe cogged. Maybe. I don't know for a fact one way or the other because I haven't personally tried it. And if someone said, oh, this is totally safe, you should do this, I probably wouldn't. Because to me, it's like that's very clearly unintended. I did Dr. Bubbles. However, that is a topic we're probably not going to be discussing in chat. I know a lot of people come to the stream not to escape those things. But yeah, like it is a thing. But you know, if people want to know more about that, you should check in on your news. Oh no, you didn't upset anyone, Dr. Bubbles. It's just like deliberately going, hey, you know, give people a place to chill.